Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for today's Enhance Productivity and Get Back to Your Core Mission with AP Automation from Bill.com. My name is Lauren Hogan. I'm a Regional Marketing Coordinator here at JMT, and we're very excited to have Mitchell Yee and Carol Amos from Bill.com joining us today. Just a couple of housekeeping notes before I turn it over to Mitchell. If you have any questions during the webinar today, please go ahead and submit them into the Q&A section as you think of them. We'll also save them until the end of the presentation, but don't hesitate to submit them as they come. Also, just a reminder that we'll send you both some handouts and the recording of today's webinar within 24 hours after it has concluded. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Mitchell, to get us started.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the introduction. Welcome, everybody. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today to talk about enhance your productivity and get back to your core mission with AP Automation from Bill.com. I'm Mitchell Yee, Senior Manager, Channel Partnerships here. We also have Carol Amos from the Bill.com side here, also monitoring the chat for us. If there are any questions, please do ask the questions and we will answer them as soon as we see them or as they come towards the end. But today we're going to cover a few things. We're going to talk about vision for not-for-profit finance teams, how AP automation fits today's needs, introducing Bill.com, and some Q&A. What have we heard from not-for-profits or NFPs? They're still doing a lot of manual work in disparate systems, spreadsheets for reporting, cutting paper checks, logging in to make some payments, making multiple different types of payments, want to improve insight, have better up-to-minute financials, better management on cash flow, still spending time on approvals and payments, chasing approvers, difficult to change approvers when they're on vacation, maternity leave, part-time volunteers, always need training, take some time, maybe volunteers are coming and going, and it's hard to work remote. Working remote has really caused a lot of issues compliance-wise, as well as just visibility. And they need to create a safe environment, and that's why working remote is so important right now. And so what are we talking about and what can help with all of these areas of technology? And it leads into kind of our next slide here, which is really CFOs are doubling down on technology. A recent CFO survey by Bill.com shows that CFOs and their finance teams face challenges like cash flow management concerns, increased levels of remote work, and gap in their current finance software portfolios. To address these, most CFOs are stepping up to invest in artificial intelligence, machine learning, AP and AR workflow automation, and other technologies. As they can see from the chart, a large majority of senior finance executives are evaluating or investing in workflow automation for accounts payable and accounts receivable as a result of the pandemic and COVID-19. To help improve these timelines and accuracy, cash flow management is the most cited area of concern for finance functions as the business climate continues to rapidly change. The executives strongly believe that investing in financial software will help improve their financial functions. Their most prevalent beliefs are that financial software investments will help their finance teams be more agile, a statement that 74% agree or strongly agree with, and help their teams work remotely, agreed to or strongly agreed to by 72% surveyed. Most also agree that such investment will improve risk management, forecast accuracy, and cash flow, really creating a resilient, agile back office for any situation you're in, whether it's in office, working remote. As we know, most companies will probably have a hybrid model, working from home part-time, working in the office part-time. NFP CFO visions for technology. CFOs require a higher functioning and performing back office. Today's technology provides the ability to save their organization's most valuable resources, their staff's time and talent. And this comes right from Jackie Tiso, CEO of JMT Consulting Group. They're really looking at boosting productivity and streamlining processes by automating manual repetitive work. Supply insight for better and faster decisions by integrating their financial tech stack, gaining real-time reporting and insights. This allows real-time collaboration with the finance team. Streamlining processes and gaining real-time visibility into cash flows lets them focus resources on their core mission, getting back to what they do best. Cloud-based technology, accessible from any device, anywhere, delivers scale for growth and mobility. Technology used to streamline processes, delivering scale and mobility, providing real-time insights for cash management also builds in rapid adaptability to fast changing environments. And so this is going to lead us into the reality of the typical AP process. The reality of a typical AP process is it's very manual. It creates inefficiencies, extra cost, opens the door to risk. So let's talk about the reality of AP. If you haven't automated, even if you're using an accounting software like Sage Intacct, AP is one of the most processes that quietly takes more and more time and effort. Most people don't notice that it has become time consuming and it's tedious, manual and error prone until there's a sudden change in personnel or a sudden change in the business conditions. When people stop and look closely at what they're doing to pay bills, they find that they're doing a lot of manual review and data entry, sometimes entering the same data in different systems more than once. They're handling and storing a lot of paper. So entering bills, that come in by mail, come in by email. They're having to download those, scan those onto computer. They're having to manually enter those into the accounting software, then manually upload that and attach that into the accounting software. Maybe they're also still storing it by just paper, right? Maybe they're still storing it inside a filing cabinet. There are many platforms that people can store documents, but none of them seem to be just as easy as receiving them and getting them in there. Then they have to chase down the approvers, which can be disastrous at times. Approvers who are non-financial users tend to struggle with the understandings of an accounting software and how to use it. It frightens them. It's overwhelming. Then you have to chase them down, you have to track them, and that typically is a manual process of when you sent it off to an approver, how long they've had it for, and getting that approval back in a timely manner that doesn't cause late payments. And payments need to be made still. So you still have to pay the bills, you still have to keep the lights on. How are you making those payments, even if you're working remote? Are you sending someone in to print checks out once a week and drive it out to the signer? Are you potentially putting someone at risk by making them go into the office? Is everyone in the office and still signing checks? Are you logging into a bank and doing double entry of information just to make those payments? A lot of that is all done through the payments process. It's very manual. It takes a lot of individuals to do it. It also opens up a lot of gap for error prone by having double entry. It also opens up the risk for not having proper separations of duty if you have people going into the accounting software and people potentially going into the bank, but maybe shouldn't be paying in the bank or have access to the bank account. And then the reconciliation process. It's something that is daunting whether you do it once a week, whether you do it once a month, looking at your accounting records versus your bank, and you're having to forecast and project when checks will be deposited and see what type of funds you'll have for the next month to pay bills, what funds you know have already come out, and because the checks have been deposited, you also got to record or double record wire transfers. Maybe if you're paying by credit card, you have to double record those as well, and that reconciliation process can be painful. What we'd like to do is overall get this repetitive AP process, it's ripe for automation. It can be easily streamlined into 4 simple steps, and you can gain efficiency in these 4 simple steps. So instead of having someone capture bills by email and download them, or take them by paper, scan them, put them in the computer, upload them, we have a solution that will allow an artificial intelligence to receive those invoices into a dedicated email inbox. You can use a mobile phone, you can upload them, you can drag and drop those images right into bill.com. IVA, short for Intelligent Virtual Assistant, will help create those payables within seconds, typically 10 to 15 seconds after a bill is emailed in, uploaded, snapshot of a picture. We'll create that and code that for you and help create that efficiency, saving you 50% or more time, just eliminating that manual data entry. We'll automatically start routing for approvers. We'll track those approvers in real time, showing you when you sent that bill for the approval, how long they've had that bill for. And then with our approval process, there's actually real-time communication within the system, and over 8,000 messages are left daily in the approval process to collaborate and make sure people are approving those bills on time. And they don't go to the wayside, lost in an email, sitting on someone's desk, and they just forget about them. Once bills are approved, then paying. Paying is all done in one platform. No more logging into multiple different systems, whether it's an online portal for a vendor to pay by credit card or an online banking portal to pay by wire transfer or ACH. It's all done in Bill.com. We make ACH payments, international wires, virtual card, and check payments with a single click. Makes it easy to do. You can set it and forget it. You can set it for the future. You can pay it right away. You can do partial payments all in one platform. And what's great about this is it reconciles with your Sage Intacct to keep everything up to date to the minute. Not only is it a sync once every 24-hour automation sync, but you can also just sync on demand by hitting a sync now button, and it will create those payables. It'll have links to those payables in Bill.com. It'll have the payment reconciliation process there, post to your cash account, your journal entries. All of it will be there. It's a paperless utopia without the hassle of manual data entry and manual obtaining of approvals. And you're saying, well, transforming AP, how do we do this? What's the AP pain and what's the efficiencies we're going to get out of it? So traditional AP focused on history of AP pain points and what we've seen over our 15 years of doing, focused on AP automation and helping clients get back to their core mission, is it's a manual and repetitive, scanning and storing paper, chasing down approvers, sending checks, manual reconciliation. It's very traditional. It's very focused on human involvement, very manual process, very error prone. And we want to transform that. We want to make it so that you can be agile, you can be nimble in any environment that your business is in. And with a software like Bill.com and AP automation, you're able to take that traditional AP focused on history and transformed AP or forward-looking and agile, becomes fast and automated, paperless in the cloud, mobile audit trails and reminders, digital payments with a click, automatic sync with Sage Intacct. Makes it very efficient, very easy to do, utilizing the technology to create the efficiency you need to get back to your core mission. I'm just going to cover a few quotes too now from some of our clients. Khan Academy is another not-for-profit using Bill.com. Angela Tam, senior accountant. Bill.com makes AP simple. Now our accounting team can finish routine duties faster, and they have more time to focus on more strategic financial projects. Truly getting those individuals back to what you hired them for. You didn't hire them to do manual work and repetitive work. You hired them to focus on strategic financial projects that help the core business, that help the business grow, do what they do best. We have Arvo, Jason Spacard, Chief Financial Officer. In his role, he needed to monitor all invoice payments and vendors. Bill.com allows him to do that remotely. They've taken out the whole payables process, making it paperless, even eliminating physical checks. So he needed visibility, we gave that to him. He needed to understand cash flow, we gave that to him, and he even eliminated physical checks. Georgetown Visitation Prep as well simply says we cut AP by 75%. Time they spent used to take hours, now takes minutes. And if they're using Sage Intacct, if you're using Sage Intacct, you have to be using Bill.com. It will improve your life dramatically. That's Roberta Hopkins, CFO. This one here is my personal favorite. I think as we all think of not-for-profits and providing things that are doing good for others, Atlanta Humane Society, when they adopted Bill.com, they were able to take their resources of human talent and put them towards working on a creative and impactful projects rather than the managerial process. And it allowed them to double their animal adoption. This is something that is tremendous. I think if you were to listen to our CEO and talk about Bill.com, Renee Lacerte, you'll hear his passion about getting businesses back to the core mission. The not-for-profit is one of those areas we focus on to help them get back to their core mission. As a result of growth, their accounting payables process for Atlanta Humane Society was taking a long time, 3 days, each month, with one of the days rigorous. It required 2 employees or processing over 500 invoices a month. It allowed them to get back to the core mission. Diane said, discovering Bill.com has made a huge difference to the operations of the Atlanta Humane Society. We have automated all of our bookkeeping tasks, freeing up precious time to focus on more important initiatives as doubling the number of animals adopted. It's just a great example of letting people get back to their core mission and what they do best. Taking control over AP, workflows, and payments with Bill.com, we are a trusted leader in AP automation. We are Sage Intacct Marketplace Partner of the Year. If you're using Sage Intacct, you'll often hear that Sage Intacct clients use 2 or more of the best-in-class apps in their partner sources. We're a top partner with them. We are the most utilized AP automation tool out there for Sage Intacct. We work with over 80 of the top 100 accounting firms. They actually use Bill.com with their clients. We have thousands of actual bookkeeping firms using Bill.com with their clients to streamline that AP process as a service for their clients. We partner with the leading US financial institutes, including the top 3 banks. We process more than $96 billion annually. We have millions in our network paying or getting paid with Bill.com. We are the preferred provider of digital payment solutions for CPA.com, the technology arm of the American Institute of CPAs, the AICPA. This is something that is greatly of an influence on the accounting world, and is something that all companies can utilize. It's easy to set up and sync. You can get started in days, not weeks. Typical implementation for Bill.com, I would say, is around 4 hours of total time, spread out over a week, maybe a week and a half, depending on your availability, but total of 4 hours of time. It's a proven solution. We are a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange, and we're a proven solution with over 102,000 customers and top partners today. Here's another little slide of just all the different types of clients that we can help out and we have helped out. You notice there's anywhere from not-for-profits on here to other companies on here that you might have seen on TV shows like Spikeball. There's Atlanta Humane Society, Honest Paws, lots of different companies on here. It's like a little NASCAR logo for us. We help over 102,000 clients companies utilize Bill.com today. Now we're going to jump into a short overview of Bill.com, kind of giving you a sneak peek at the user interface through a few slides. When you first log into Bill.com, you're going to see everything at 100-foot view, 1,000-foot view. You're going to see your AP, your AR all on one screen. It's going to make it easy to dive into to see what needs your attention. We'll highlight bills that are overdue, bills that are due in 7 days, 7+ days. We'll highlight the approvers, who has what bills, how many bills they have, for how long, between 0 to 5 days, 6 to 10 days, greater than 10 days. Automatic reminders are probably set up already and can be set up for these approvers, but you can also go into here and message them directly so they get instant notifications to say, hey, what's going on? So no more manually tracking of those approvers or what bills are coming up due or past due. It's all right here. People love the dashboard. It gives them insight for better and faster decision. This is something that'll give them the overview and the decisions to make at real time. Where all the magic really starts is right here in the inbox. Our intelligent virtual assistant starts right here. It'll look at these bills, and within 10 to 15 seconds, it'll create the payable. It will have a check mark. If it's green, it'll notify you if it's a duplicate invoice. There's 3 methods to get bills into bill.com. There's a dedicated email. You can drag and drop, or you can upload. And you can actually, there's a 4th way. You can take a snapshot from your mobile phone. Our intelligent virtual assistant will automatically create those payables, taking you to this screen when you click on that invoice, showing you what fields it populated. Invoice number, bill date, due date, net terms, total amount. It'll show you the vendor. It'll give you a quick link to the last 5 bills for that vendor. It'll have your last retained GL accounts and dimensions on there. It'll have your approvers on there from last time. We can create certain type of workflows as well, where we can have it set up to have approval policies by dollar amount. So an example, if a bill is equal to or greater than $5,000, it must have the CFO for approval. So no matter how many approvers on here you have, if this bill happens to be over $5,000 and doesn't have the CFO on here, it will create a message for the individual sending this off to the approvers and reviewing this to add that CFO on here before it can take the next steps of approval. You can set up either or approvals. So if you have a group of individuals in IT that can approve certain bills, you can create that group, you can add it to this bill, and as long as one or the other approves, it will go on to the next step of approval or ready for payments. Approvals are simple. It's a high-level overview at first for your approvers, and as they dive into each invoice number, they can look at the actual invoice image itself, all the coding and detailing, any messages left on here. So it'll have a person's name, it'll ask a question, it'll instantly ping them. You can have real-time collaboration. Over 8,000 messages daily happen in bill.com, companies collaborating in real time. You can do all of this from your mobile phone. You can have an overview of all the bills that are there to approve. You can dive into each one, look at the GL accounts, the dimensions that are on the bill. You can click on the image to see the image of the bill, and you can even leave messages or ask questions about the bill before feeling comfortable to approve it. You can do all of it from your mobile platform, making it very easy to navigate through. And this is great for those non-financial users. Using a mobile phone on a daily basis is what people do. And by providing the AP workflow on a mobile phone, just makes it that much more easy and manageable for those non-financial users. And then we have payments. So once bills are approved, you can see that there are many different types of payments that we do. It will list all the bills. That'll list which ones have been approved. It'll show the balance due, the date we want to pay them. It'll show how they're getting there, whether it's by check, by wire, by e-payment, by virtual card. All you have to do is select them all, pay them, select a few, pay them. You can change the date. Most importantly, you control when they're getting paid, how much they're getting paid, and you control how they're getting paid. This is very, very important because you still have full control and take control over all of it. We also have complete audit trails. Audits are daunting, especially for not-for-profits. In bill.com, you can train an auditor. We have a very specific role that is a read-only role that gives them the ability to see the bills, audit trail of who did what at what time to the bill, payment remittance info, bill images, all in one spot. No more going back and forth between filing cabinets, accounting software, bank records. It's all in one spot. We also have our SOC 1 and Type 2 compliances that are requested over and over again by our clients that are going through audits, so they can provide that to their auditors to show the proper securities are in measure. We are one of the few companies that have Type 1 and Type 2 SOC reports. This is very, very important for companies to realize and utilize, because there are compliances that need to happen with payments. And we also are one of the only companies that have what's called an MTL, money transmit license, or money transfer license in all 50 states. This allows us to move money in all 50 states regularly without any compliances, or with all the full compliances without having to piggyback off our banks. This allows us to be compliant in every state. The syncing and the overview of Bill.com right here is very easy. We have a very robust way to sync with Sage Intacct. Contact us. We'll talk about how you have Sage Intacct set up. We'll work with JMT Consulting to understand your setup of Sage Intacct. There are 6 different ways to connect Bill.com to Sage Intacct. We have a very robust 2-way sync that keeps your core financials up to date, giving you visibility in real-time data. Again, this is going to transform your AP pain to AP efficiency. Utilizing Bill.com will take your traditional AP from manual and repetitive, scanning and storing paper, chasing down approvers, sending checks, manual reconciliation, to transforming AP pain to AP efficiency. You'll go to fast and automated, paperless in the cloud, mobile, audit trails and reminders, digital payments with a click, automated sync with Sage Intacct. We've shown you that adopting technology to streamline and automate manual financial back office processes is a strong trend. And the expectations is that financial software investments will help their finance teams be more agile and help their teams work remotely, and will improve risk, forecast accuracy, and cash flow management. Bill.com is such a technology, transform your AP fast, automated process that's accessible anywhere, giving you time back to focus on your core mission. Now we have a little poll question here as well. Hopefully we can have that poll question popped up here. We'd love to understand if you're interested in hearing more about Bill.com. You can reach out to Bill.com. I'll have another slide in just a moment. You can reach out to JMT, Trusted Advisor, and they'll work with us on your behalf to see if we're a good fit for you, if you'd like to take any further actions and view more. Give just a few more seconds here. All right. I think what we'll do is we'll open it up for questions. Are there any questions that you might have at this time?
Yeah, so it does look like we had a couple questions come through, Mitchell. So we have our first question is, does your software work with MIP similar in function to Microi?
For this, I do know a little bit about MIP. We have an import-export for MIP. I'm not familiar with Microix, so I'm not sure how their functionality is, but we do have an import-export by CSV file that we can work with and keep communications together with MIP.
Okay, and then our next one is, if an employee/approver leaves, does your system replace that person automatically for all workflows that the original approver was included in?
It's a yes or no, yes and no answer. The new user will have to be, of course, added into bill.com. And then you would, in the settings, if you had settings maybe that were set up for approver by dollar amount, you just have to add them into that setting. So I would say no, it doesn't automatically know who it's going to replace or what processes it should replace. But once you set them up in the settings area and add them as a user, it will then go forward, and automatically adding them to the correct bills as those bills come in for processing by, automation of our artificial intelligence.
Okay, and then our next question is, how do you manage posting of an ACH?
I believe you're asking for posting in the accounting software. And so I'll try to explain this the best I can. We will do a lump sum debit. So bill.com wants to try to touch the bank account only once a day, as little as possible. So if you are paying 5 vendors today, and each vendor is getting $1,000, in your bank account, you will see a lump sum debit of $5,000. Bill.com then disperses those payments to the vendors, whether they are ACH or check. We'll disperse those payments accordingly. Each vendor will get $1,000. Inside of your Sage Intacct account, you will notice a Bill.com clearing account that has today's date with the transaction of $5,000. You'll see in your journal entry also a $5,000 as well. And underneath the clearing account of bill.com, you will see exactly what lines up, or who is being paid, I should say, that equals up that $5,000. So you'll see vendor A for $1,000 ACH, vendor B $1,000 check, vendor C $1,000 check, and etc. So you'll see each vendor, how they got paid inside of Sage Intacct underneath that clearing account that showed the $5,000 of today's date. So that would be where you would see that and how it's broken down. We can definitely show that to you also as well, so you can see it in real time in a demo if you'd like as well to get more clarity. I know it's a little hard to picture as I'm talking about it.
Yeah. Let's see, the next question we have is, does the system work with volunteer or staff travel reimbursements?
I believe you're talking about kind of expense management. We don't have expense management. We do work with expense management companies like Expensify, Tally, and a few others, where you can manage the receipts that are done by the staff, whether they're volunteer or travel, and have them submitted through there, and reimbursements can be paid through bill.com. So they can flow through your accounting software and from your accounting software into bill.com, and bill.com can make those reimbursements. And that can be done.
Okay, and then we have, can I use bill.com if my company uses custom dimensions in Intacct?
At this time, we only sync with the default dimensions, no custom dimensions. It is something that we are currently evaluating and are working on to improve and keep the integration with Sage Intacct growing even more robust. At this time, we only do sync with the default dimensions and not custom. So I don't think you'd be able to use bill.com at this time.
Okay. And then our next question is, we pay some invoices by credit card where we get cash back for that transaction. Can this account be used within bill.com?
Your specific credit card vendor or your credit card, whether it's American Express or Visa, no. We use a virtual card through a MasterCard provider, but we do actually have percentage points back. So we do have a rebate option, but you would not be able to use your credit card.
Okay, the next question is there a limit to the number of approvers?
No, there is not. Per bill, we allow up to 50 approvers per any given bill. in the overall system, there are companies that have hundreds of approvers in the system. So there is a limit per bill of up to 50. If you have more than 50, please let us know. I believe there might be something we can do to expand that, but currently the default setting is up to 50 per a single bill, but there are no limit to how many approver users you can have in the system.
Okay. Our next question is, how long does it take to integrate Bill.com?
Yeah, it takes roughly, I would say the average time is total time of 4 hours. We split it into a couple different sessions. Your first session will be a consultation to make sure that we did all the proper understanding of how your Sage Intacct is set up. That's typically 30 minutes. And then we do the actual implementation after that. And that typically is 2 hours. And that will actually sync Bill.com with Sage Intacct, set up all of your users, their permissions, their roles, their notifications, set up your workflows, your settings, and you'll typically be ready to go at the end of that 2 hours. What we do also provide after that is training. So typically after 2.5 hours, you're ready to rock and roll. But we typically then set out training times as well, which is typically another 1.5 hours or so, depending on the size of the company and what type of individuals or what type of access individuals have. We'll split it into 2 groups. So typically another hour to another 1.5 hours of time in just training. And it's typically done all in 1 week. I'd say max 2 weeks, just depending on everyone's availability, of course.
Awesome. Well, that looks like that's the end of the questions we have today. Mitchell, is there anything that you would like to add?
You know, I want to say thank you, everyone, for really taking the time, you know, out of your day to listen to the webinar. And I hope everyone's staying safe out there. Hopefully things will open back up. We'll be able to meet each other, stay safe, take one day at a time, keep a smile on your face. Things are only going to look up from here. Thank you again for everything.
Yeah, well, that concludes our webinar today then. I just want to thank Mitchell and Carol both for being with us here. And thank you everyone for attending. We hope that everyone enjoyed the presentation. And again, just a reminder, we're going to send the slides and recording for this webinar by tomorrow. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.